Hi, everybody. Welcome to class this week. This is the last few classes before we finish with our book, Lama Yeshe's Introduction to Tantra, and our whole course based on this book. So just sort of the final few chapters. Of course, we've skipped a big part of it on Highest Yoga Tantra because we're not teaching that. We're just the classes that we're doing here and courses that we're doing, just getting you sort of a cursory, sort of introduction, so to speak, to Buddhist Tantra, Vajrayana Buddhism, in particular in the Gelugpa tradition of Tibetan Buddhism. So we're just going to focus on this book here, then move on to Robert Priest's book, Psychology of Buddhist Tantra, and then finally sort of the opening sections of Lama Yeshe, great Tibetan Buddhist saint and founder of our tradition, Gelugpa tradition. His great treatises on Vajrayana or Tantra called Naram Chenmo. We'll do just the opening parts of that, leading into Kriya Tantra, the lowest of the four classes of Tantra, sort of to get people started in a very, very, very introductory way in what Tantra is and how it works. Okay, so just starting some prayers here for blessings and setting our intention for our study today. And again, starting with the Heart Sutra. Homage to the professional wisdom of the Blessed Mother. Thus I've heard, at one time the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajgir and Mass Vultures, mounted together the great assembly of monks and nuns and the great assembly of bodhisattvas. That time the Blessed One was absorbed in the concentration of countless aspects of phenomena called profound illumination. That time also Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva, the great being, was looking perfectly at the price of profound perfection of wisdom, looking perfectly also at the five aggregates being empty of inherent existence. Then the power Buddha, Venerable Shariputra, said to Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva, the great being, how should a son of the lineage train who wishes to engage the price of profound perfection of wisdom? Thus he spoke, and Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva, the great being, replied to Venerable Shariputra as follows. Shariputra, whatever son or daughter of the lineage wishes to engage the price of profound perfection of wisdom should look perfectly like this. Subsequently, looking perfectly and correctly also the five aggregates being empty of inherent existence. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is none other than form, and form is none other than emptiness. Likewise, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, like this, all phenomena are emptiness, having no characteristics, no previous and do not cease. They have no defilement, no separation from defilement. They have no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mentality, no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no tactile object, no phenomenon. There is no I element, and so forth, up to a mentality element, also up to no mental element of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance, and no exhaustion of ignorance, and so forth, up to no aging and death, and no exhaustion of aging and death. Likewise, there is no suffering, origin, cessation, or path, no exalted awareness, no attainment, also no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and abide in their perfection of wisdom. Their minds have no obstructions and no fear. Passing utterly on perversity, they attain the final nirvana. Also, all Buddhas relied perfectly and three times, having relied upon the perfection of wisdom, became manifest, complete Buddhas in the state of unsurpassed, perfect, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the equal and unequaled mantra, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, since it's not false, should be known as the truth. The mantra of perfection of wisdom is proclaimed, Hayata, Gata Gata Paragata Parasamgati Bodhisoha. Shariputra, bodhisattva, great being, should train the profound perfection of wisdom like this. Then the Blessed One arose in that concentration, said to Superior Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva, the great being, that he'd spoken well. Good son of lineage is like that, since it's like that, just as you have revealed, in that way the profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced, and Tathagatas will also rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Venerable Shariputra, Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva, the great being, the entire circle of disciples, as well as worldly beings, gods, humans, demigods, and spirits, were delighted and highly praised what had been spoken by the Blessed One. Okay, so let's just take a moment to just do a quick meditation, setting our intention. So again, we're in a wide open space, ground blue like lapis lazuli, easy to sit on, and ourselves surrounded by all sentient beings of the six realms. So we can feel our mothers on our left, fathers on our right, people we love the most behind us as support, and people we like the least or have issues with in front of us as objects of our compassion. And moving up from there, humans from all over the world, without exception. Sort of living natural beings of the animal realm, everything from smaller insects to mammals and birds and fish and so forth, the whole natural environment with us. The whole spirit world with all different spirit entities from all the different realms they live in are here. Celestial beings like gods and demigods. And then countless beings in lower states of rebirth, hungry ghosts and hell beings. So we're all here as a big family meditating together. And a beautiful dome of a blue sky above us, cloudless, bright and luminous. And in it, above us and in front of us, let's visualize Buddha Shakyamuni's higher tantric or sort of angelic form that taught Tantra, conqueror Vajradhara, and feel that he is the synthesis of 3 jewels of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, all of our teachers and all holy beings, all light beings. So I'm going to just have him floating in the sky. He's got a beautiful blue, sort of dark blue energy body or light body in lotus position, arms crossed at the heart, wearing a crown and beautiful silks and jewelry. His left hand holds a bell, right hand holds a Vajra scepter. And then his heart, you can feel on a sun disk, is a beautiful blue hum letter. If you like in English, it's H-U-M, otherwise a Tibetan or a Sanskrit letter. Softly radiating out, sort of almost like a mist, rainbow light. So taking refuge, I and all sentient beings to achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I and all sentient beings to achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I and all sentient beings to achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And bodhicitta, generating that. Through the virtues we collect by giving other perfections, may we become a Buddha for the benefit of all. Through the virtues we collect by giving other perfections, may we become a Buddha for the benefit of all. Through the virtues we collect by giving and other perfections, may we become a Buddha for the benefit of all. So taking refuge in the 3 jewels from our hearts of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, in particular the Dharma jewel of wisdom realizing emptiness, our true refuge. And setting our intention, may everything we do be put towards the liberation, enlightenment of all sentient beings without exception. May we become liberated, enlightened, that we lead all sentient beings to that same state. Opening our heart and generating love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. May everyone be happy. May everyone be free from misery. May no one ever be separated from their happiness, and may everyone have equanimity, free from hatred and attachment. Okay, so now just doing the 7 limbs here. With my body, speech, and mind humbly I prostrate, and make offerings both set out and imagine. I confess my wrong deeds from all time, and rejoice in the virtues of all. Please stay until samsara ceases, and turn the wheel of Dharma for us. I dedicate all virtues to great enlightenment. Now holding in our heart, beautiful mandala, purified universe of all beautiful things that we're offering to all holy beings. The ground sprinkled with perfume and spread with flowers, the great mountain, 4 lands, sun and moon, seen as a Buddha land, and offered thus, may all beings enjoy such pure lands. Om Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Community. Amen. Just a final thing, which is asking sort of blessings for all the Lam Rim prayers here, for the short Lam Rim prayer of Jason Kappa. Path begins with strong reliance on my kind teacher, source of all good. Oh, bless me with this understanding to follow him with great devotion. This human life with all its freedoms, extremely rare with so much meaning. Oh, bless me with this understanding, all day and night to seize its essence. My body, like a water bubble, decays and dies so very quickly. After death come results of karma, just like the shadow of a body. With this firm knowledge and remembrance, bless me to be extremely cautious, always avoiding harmful actions and gathering abundant virtue. Samsara's pleasures are deceptive, can know contentment, only torment. So please bless me to strive sincerely to gain the bliss of perfect freedom. Oh, bless me so that from this pure thought comes mindfulness and greatest caution, to keep as my essential practice the doctrine's root, the pratimoksha. Just like myself, all my kind mothers are drowned in samsara's ocean. Also that I may soon release them, bless me to train in bodhicitta. But I cannot become a Buddha by this alone without 3 ethics. So bless me to strength the practice of Bodhisattva's ordination. By pacifying mind distractions and analyzing perfect meanings, bless me to quickly gain the union of special and setting quiescence. When I become a pure container through common paths, bless me to enter the essence practice of good fortune, the supreme vehicle of Vajrayana. The true attainment is both dependent on my sacred vows and my commitments. Bless me to understand this clearly and keep them at the cost of my life. By constant practice in 4 sessions, the way explained by holy teachers, all bless me to gain both the stages which are the essence of the Tantras. May those who guide me on the good path and all my companions all have long lives. Bless me to pass by completely all obstacles outer and inner. May I always find perfect teachers and take delight in holy Dharma, accomplish all grounds and pass swiftly, and gain the state of Vajradhara. So with this, we can just feel that beautiful rainbow lights coming down as a blessing energy for ourselves and all beings. So white, green, blue, red, and yellow. Sort of 5 element colors here. Sort of boosting our energy, making us more open, powerful, and happy. And we can also request Vajradhara now. Please grant us your blessings, body, speech, and mind. So then he gets very, very small, just like a little blue jewel, like a little sapphire on your ring. Floats down to the crown of our head here, turns around facing the same direction as us. Slowly enters our crown chakra and starts to descend to our heart. And once he goes into our heart here, just feel that he dissolves. And like dropping a little bit of blue food coloring into a glass of water, it gets absorbed. Just all his wisdom, love, compassion, power get dissolved into us. Most of all blessings of all holy beings, all the wisdom and compassion. And can we feel great, great bliss and spaciousness here. Okay, so just short meditation here. So coming out of this, sort of blissful experience. And letting it all sink in here. And starting with our class here, these are all little sections at the end of Lama Yeshe's book, Integrating Wisdom and Enjoyment and the Fruit of Tantric Practice. So Lama Yeshe says what we have in sort of higher stages of Tantra is, of course, the wisdom of emptiness being a blissful experience. So when we realize emptiness, it's blissful anyway because there is a release, liberation, annihilation of all true sufferings, of all pain and suffering. So there's like a great rest or satisfaction or repose just from that. nirvana, sort of blowing out the candle, all that intense tension and suffering all goes. But also when we're doing Tantra, there's like at highest yoga Tantra, you have spontaneous born exalted wisdom. There's the mental factor, pure sort of virtuous mental factor of sort of bliss, sort of this internal bliss, mind of great bliss that ends up sort of being activated through tantric means. On lower tantras, we're activating it sort of analogously by doing blissful visualization work and mantra work and visualizations. Not the same thing because it's not highest yoga tantra, but it's similar. But our wisdom of emptiness is sort of a blissful experience because we're unifying sort of the means we use to perceive emptiness is this sort of blissful mind coupled with our shamatha vipassana training here. So we need the two elements here of clear-sighted wisdom into the true nature of things, or emptiness, and a feeling of joyous blissfulness. These have to be unified in one experience, and they are in our tantric practice, which is what makes Tantra so special. So in the West, we can be very intelligent but have no joy. In other places, we have joyous people but no sharp penetrating awareness. They're sort of happy but a dull mind. So it's two things where you can be sort of very sort of sharp, clever, even intellectual person. Guilty as charged here, and but nevertheless, like everything, they always call this in Taoism like a sort of a wood element imbalance, where you're just too much in your head, too intellectual, too disembodied, too cut off, and because of that, there's sort of a natural frustration, dissociation, and sort of like the passive aggressivity that comes with that. Nietzsche calls this, sort of this weak mentality or sort of reactive mindset, culminating what he calls the French word ressentiment against life, that you have a lot of intellectual people that retreat into sort of an intellectual mind because they can't handle living in their actions, enjoying the world or whatever. And so rather than it becoming sort of a positive thing, a positive mental experience, so to speak, it's more of a negative, judgmental, reactive-based way of living or embodiment. So we can have that. Of course, that has nothing to do with Tantra. With all of our visualizations, mantra work, and ritual work, we're not becoming just this super intellectual, clear, judgmental, sharp person who's reactive, resentful, mean, passive-aggressive, and judgmental. We want it to be a joyful, open, creative, positive, powerful person with that penetrating judgmental mind, not judgmental in the sense of negative, but a sense of being able to be discernment, sort of a clear-sightedness and gnosis here that we're using to realize emptiness. And on the other hand, you can have people that are just blissed out but totally out of it, just like they're stoned or high on something, but they don't have any sort of disseminating, discerning awareness. They're just like blissed out of it, just like you're drugged or like too sleepy or dull or whatever. Sometimes in the sutra, like whatever, in Buddhist commentaries, they always compare to animals being dull and stupid. And of course, my parents had a ranch. And when you're dealing with animals, they're not stupid at all, whether they're cows or pigs or horses, they're very intelligent in their own way. But there's this sort of analogy that you don't want to be just like the stupid cow just in a hot day, or just like blissful, chewing grass. They're kind of blissful, but they're just totally out of it. They're not interested in anything. They're not sharp or whatever, right? So Tantra tries to cultivate great wisdom, putting intelligence to practical experience by unifying it with blissful, heightened awareness. Therefore, it's possible to integrate one's life and fulfill the potential for happiness while eradicating samsara pleasures with it. Samsara pleasures, we get more ignorant, more dark. In Tantra, we experience incredible pleasure but remain clear and under control. So, of course, this whole course, we've been going on about the difference between sort of this hungry, dissatisfied, bottomless pit of desire being like in the Freudian Hegelian sense, a quote-unquote negativity or state of non-being or dissatisfaction, the bottomless pit that you're trying to fill all the time. The moment you grab something you're sort of addictively attached to, use it up, you're just as dissatisfied, empty, and craving as the moments before. You keep going, makes you very, very dark, sort of addictive, can't see things, can't think of other people, very unethical, just sort of closing your own world, compared to this sort of blissful, expansive, clear-sightedness that you get with tantric practice, where you can enjoy pleasure and bliss and joy, but do it with this completely connected, open and positive potential here, right? So the problem we have, like Lama Yeshe says, is we try to possess pleasure, you know, like he gives example of Kundalini. Well, this is my Kundalini, my experience, me, I. So we have to unify our mind with emptiness and non-duality. Then pleasure is experienced as an empty space openness. This is hard to express because our normal habit of possessiveness, of relating everything with this limited sense of self or self-grasping, prevents us from having this more open view. So he says, imagine the person you're attached to, or the thing you're attached to, turns into a rainbow being of light. The heavy feelings of desire and possessiveness dissolve in something like lighter and higher and buoyant is there instead. We have a relationship with this, let go of our grasping attitude. We have something spacious and universal here. So it's sort of an experience of light, bliss, and intense awareness. So this is what we're trying to cultivate with Tantra. So in a lot of ways, as the end of the book comes, Lama Yeshe is sort of, again, reminding us of the themes he was presenting and ideas he was presenting at the beginning of the book, really contrasting our normal, attached, selfish, addictive way of looking at pleasure and happiness, which, as Aristotle or Thomas Aquinas, all these great thinkers, all these great Indian thinkers would always say that human reality is defined as just the will to be happy. We all want to be happy, right? And in Taoism, they say that that's why you're here, to express your fire element, your joy. You're here on this planet to be happy. That's your destiny, is to be happy. So the question is, why aren't you happy? If I'm supposed to be happy, that's my mission, is to be happy and self-fulfilled and express myself. How come I'm not doing that? How come I can't do that? So we've seen, just like good old basic true sufferings and true origins in Buddhism, it's our self-grasping and self-grasping mind, that self-cherishing mind, that's put us into this sort of addictive cycle of sort of ignorance and dissatisfaction and suffering and lack of self-awareness, lack of ethics towards ourselves and other people. So creating this constant hamster wheel of bad karma, kind of like a screwdriver, obviously deeper and deeper and deeper into suffering and ignorance. Ignorance leading to suffering, suffering leading to more ignorance. Whereas the true cessations and true paths here, in particular, looking at the three principal paths of bodhicitta, renunciation, wisdom, realization, emptiness, taken up with Tantra, allow us to find this true happiness. So what we're doing in Tantra is, again, having this clear view of emptiness mixed with bodhicitta, right? That we do everything for the benefit of all sentient beings based on love and compassion. And the wisdom principle is really seeing everything as joy, everything as light, everything sort of as an open, spacious, selflessness experience, and understanding this in and through pleasure. So what is the fruit of tantric practice, Lama Yeshe says? Well, we have degrees of success on our way to enlightenment. We have to be brave and think, whether I'm successful or not on this path, I'm going to shoot for success and really try and get the final results here, full enlightenment. No matter how much negativity or how much limitations we have to keep trying. So he says, look at Milarepa. Milarepa, the great famous Buddhist saint, in sort of ascetic saint that we get in Tibet. The classic story of the sort of cursed guy, has a terrible life, and then gets the utmost success of full enlightenment by trying very, very hard. A guy that had no breaks, did everything from scratch, and just would never give up, despite all the hardships. So we have to have a similar kind of view, that we just never give up on this. Never set a limit for yourself, he says. So again, unlike more Semitic, Abrahamic religions, where there's always a difference between creator and created, between you and God, there's sort of a limit there. You have in Buddhism and spiritual traditions like that, more of a Spinozist idea, where it's basically on a continuum. We've got sort of the creator and created, but the point is that you can go back and forth along this line to different degrees along this continuity. So it's the same thing in Buddhism, is that we can be a complete divine being because we have that cedar potential within ourselves already. There is that line, almost like a mathematical line. So we just have to keep moving up the line towards enlightenment. We can do this. Nothing can stop us except our own internal obstacles that we put there for ourselves. So these are some things with time and effort we can overcome. Okay, so what are the qualities leading to success for a tantric practice? There's basically these 4 qualities. Number 1, indestructible devotion. Number 2, freedom from doubt. Number 3, single point of concentration. And number 4, secrecy, or keeping our practices hidden. So 1, indestructible devotion. We have to have a clear, pragmatic understanding of the path from start to finish. See a natural progress on this journey, which leads to more and more confidence in it. We have the good support of our Sangha and our teachers for our path along the way. And most have unshakable faith and never get distracted by worldly life and never give up. So we have to, most of all, again, indestructible devotion or confidence. Let's use that word. So it's the confidence of being an expert. We're an expert soldier, we're an expert mountain climber, we're an expert classical musician, we're an expert athlete, we're an expert swimmer or explorer. So I have 100% confidence because I've been training, I've been educated in mountain climbing school. I'm an expert hockey player because since I was 5 years old, my mom was taking me to hockey practice. All I do is practice on my days off from school, this and that. So throw me in any game, I know what to do. I know I'm not going to blow it. I have complete confidence in myself because of all this work and training I put into it. And also, because I've been playing the game long enough, or I'm a classical musician, I know I've been playing, let's say, all of Beethoven's work since I was 7 years old. I know how everything fits together. I know where I am in Beethoven. I know if you say, okay, Matthew, we got to concentrate. Okay, Beethoven's chamber music. I'm like, got it. I've been doing this my whole life. Just tell me what you want done and I'm going to do it, right? Same thing with mountain climbing. Hey, I've done Everest, I've done K2, I've done all these things. Just wind me up and send me out there and I'll be able to climb this mountain. I have unshakable faith because I know the map, right? I know all in this from Tantra. I know the Sutric path. I've been studying Lam Rim, the 3 principal paths of renunciation, bodhicitta, and wisdom realizing emptiness. But I also know the Tantric path. I've been training, let's say, Gelugpa tradition, you would go to lower or higher Tantric college, right? You're at Kyoto or Gyumid Tantra College. I've been in that for 3 years. I know all the rituals. I know the different classes of Tantra. I know what I got to do. I know the whole map here. I put these things together. My Sutra training and my Tantra training go together. Pada! I have the whole mission in my mind. Like I'm the commando, here is your mission. You have to capture this castle or something. Helicopter's picking you up, rappel down, you've got your map going in, and I get the hidden treasure and bring it back to the government or something like that. I know my commando mission. I've been a commando for all these years. I have all the medals and stuff. Same thing here with our tantric practice. So that's the thing. We have that unshakable faith and confidence and devotion to the path where we don't get distracted by worldly life or other things. This is our life and we live it. Tantra is something we live. We're not going to dump it for another interest or another eccentricity, or that this is just kind of like a hobby that we do from time to time. We don't take it seriously, so it's easy to give it up. Kind of like, yeah, I did pickleball for 2 years, but done. I'm on whatever. Now I'm paddleboarding or something. This is our whole life, so we don't get distracted and we never give up. Any kind of obstacle is just part of our life that we deal with, part of the path. We're ready to go. Freedom from doubt, indecisiveness from an unclear mind. So doubts vanish when we develop clear wisdom that understands the order and purpose, the elements of the practice, and we know the structure. So, it's almost a structuralist argument where just like the old structuralist views of linguistics just assuring everybody, and Roman Jakobson is like the elements in the language makes sense only in terms of the elements of the language. The elements of the language only make sense to the overall whole of the language, these kinds of things. All these sort of dimensions to our tantric path and even sutric path going together. We know all the elements in terms of the whole of the map, and the map makes sense only in terms of its details that we know. So we don't have any doubts because we know it from back to front and front to back. And we've done, at least on a sutric level, Rinpoche, my teacher Zaza Rinpoche always said, like, Tantra is all about confidence, faith, and devotion, because at this point, living this life of Tantra, you no longer have doubts because all the doubts and intellectualisms and issues and justifications, rationalizations, debates, paradox, all these kind of things you're working out and arguing and debating with people in your community, that's all worked out on the sutric level. You've done all that. Now, the time for debate, for proving things to yourself, rationalizing things, trying to figure things out like a puzzle, that's all done. I'm past that now. I'm actually doing it. So no more questions. Same kind of thing. The questions you have are in your training, like martial arts. How do I do this? How do I hold this sword if I'm in kendo or whatever, lifting weights? I don't know how to use this machine or whatever. Well, now I know, so I don't have to break this down. So it is like just good old embodying a skill, right? What they call coping. Like if you look at sort of more embodied views of cognitive science or whatever, great philosophers like Merleau-Ponty, a lot of what Heidegger said, even Gilbert Ryle and the analytic tradition, Wittgenstein. Gilbert Ryle always says there's between knowing how and knowing that. So two different sort of ways of knowing things, right, that are logically different. So I know that the cheetah is the fastest land animal. I know that Moscow is the capital of Russia, right? I know that I have to, whatever, fill up the car with gas or something, but I know how to tie my shoes. I know how to, whatever, cook a stir fry or something that I've been doing every day. And what's interesting is when you're in that sort of embodied flow state of knowing how, it's very hard to explain that to people, right? How do you tie your shoes? Well, I don't even think about it. Just like I'm on autopilot because it's an embodied skill, right? How do I sail? I'm a sailor. How do I know all the different rigging and all this kind of stuff? Can you show me? Oh, sometimes it's very hard for people to show things that they know so well. Let's say you're really, really good at chainsawing. And it's like, how do I do this and show this to a young guy with a chainsaw to make sure he doesn't get hurt? Oh, I have to start to think, well, how was I taught this skill? Because it's just who I am. It's just embodied. It's effortless. It's like I noticed that when I first learned to drive a standard transmission car, like let's say 25 years ago, there's that difference between learning how the clutch works, how to downshift, and then how it is now where it's just part of your body. The car and you are one thing. You just know instinctively how these things go. So Tantra works on that level. That's how we do it. It's not a place for intellectualism. You can ask intellectual questions like rituals. What color is that torma? Whatever. How do I draw this mandala? How many offerings in this fire puja? But the point is, it's like magic. You have to do it right through the ritual or when you're at the pujas. You don't ask, how does this really work? What's emptiness again? What's the prasangika view? What's a great compassion, bodhicitta? Sorry, shut up. That's done. Too late. You shouldn't be here if you have those kinds of questions, right? Like in the sense that it's performance time, not training time, right? Not practice time. Like we always say in Tantra, gotta practice, gotta practice, gotta practice. But technically, every practice is a performance. Every performance is a practice getting better, better, better. But the point is that when the performance is there, no more intellectualisms. Someone asks you to do a fire puja, you don't have doubts, you don't have questions, you don't explain things, you just do the puja for people. Okay, that's very important. And as Rinpoche would say, the answers come in the practice, almost on an intuitive level, not an intellectual level. So, single point concentration. It's impossible to penetrate the practice without this. Completion stage, we need concentration in any serious discipline or art. Anyway, so of course, anytime you are a master at something, you have great concentration. You are a master yoga instructor. You are a master ballerina. You are a master classical musician. You are a master barrel racer, horse person, like a horse rider. My mom used to do that, barrel racing, for instance, a master roper, like my dad used to do. It's all about concentration, being in the flow. And again, that skill level, knowing how, not knowing that. And we all know that when you're in that, what Satska calls pre-reflective consciousness, if you get intellectual, you screw up. If I'm going down the ski hill and I start to think, what am I doing here? Is my foot in the right place? Then you fall. You're roping. It's like, am I holding the rope the right way? Then the cow runs away and you can't rope it. So at this point here, you need single pointed concentration. That's how Tantra works, to really embody this energy. And in completion stage practice for highest yoga Tantra, it's only concentration. So you flip from just like the lower Tantras, including generation stage or Kirim, where it's all imagination work and visualizations at this, which depend on concentration, of course, but the completion stage practice is about holding the energy. It's like in Iyengar yoga, hold the asana. So you need a concentrated mind to do that. And finally, keep the practices hidden. This is why it's called secret mantra, right? Or mikyu in Japanese if you're practicing Shingon, secret or magic. Magic's always secret, right? Secret mind protection keeps them to ourselves like a precious treasure. So we always say we don't show any of this stuff publicly because it's misunderstood. We always say it attracts obstacles or quote unquote evil spirits. I'm not going to say whether to take that literally or figuratively, but you can of course take them on both levels, literally and figuratively. But we have to keep things secret because we don't, the whole point is we're trying to destroy our self-cherishing mind, not having pride, but we having humility and an open-heartedness and love. And the moment we broadcast this or express this publicly, showing all this off, the more we start undoing our work, which it starts to become more and more of an ego issue and sort of a public issue rather than a private issue. In the old days, I used to say, you don't make your sex life public. Of course, now everybody does. It's a little bit different, but I'm just saying perhaps it's the old days, like I say, you don't talk about sex, politics, and religion in polite company. So in other words, we can see this now, let's say with politics. Places like the United States that, okay, you've got Christmas dinner, Thanksgiving dinner. Are you going to have a huge political discussion with your relatives where you don't really agree on anything? One's Democrat, but one's Republican. Like the old days in Europe where one person's right-wing traditionalist or a Catholic traditionalist or a fascist, and then whatever the new kids are all socialists, and it's over Christmas dinner. It's a huge screaming fight. It's the same thing where you learn to keep these things to yourself. One of the big things is if we start to publicize it publicly, you can get people being scared, threatened, jealous, but also you want to always maintain that confidence and faith and devotion. And if you start publicizing these things, it can attract obstacles and send that doubts. You tell everybody and your parents are like, I think that's stupid. What are you doing running around doing all these magic rituals? You're not an adult. You're like a little kid playing Star Wars. And then you start to doubt yourself. Or whatever, you have religious people, let's say evangelical Christians. Oh my goodness, my nephew is a devil worshiper. And then you sort of think, because you were raised Catholic as a little kid or something, well, maybe they're right. And maybe I'm worshiping devils. Oh, I don't want to practice Tantra anymore. Or you've got whatever, your colleague's a big cognitive science person or brain studies person. Oh, this is just all brain imaging. None of this works. This is just magic. It's just stupid superstitions, this and that. So all these things, you make it public, you start to have sort of an internal echo or blowback where you start doubting yourself, doubting your path, doubting what you're doing. And of course, we're not in a Buddhist culture, at least in the West. We're not in a tantric culture, especially nowadays. So this is seen as weird, upsetting, strange, crazy, all of these kinds of things from the general public. So these will just end up creating obstacles in your mind, creating doubts or embarrassment or shame or like it'll create more of a reactive mentality rather than an affirmative one. So it's good to keep these things a secret. Like a secret recipe, you've got your favorite Christmas recipe or whatever, like, your favorite sort of, pasta recipe that your great grandmother taught you and your friends love it, but you want to keep it a secret because it's special. You don't want to put it on the internet. You don't want to share too much. You want to keep it to yourself as a way of really always making a beautiful gift or offering to those people around you. Your famous recipe that's kept somehow on a sort of devotional level. It's a way of even honoring your ancestors who had this family recipe or something. Just like family traditions, Christmas, Hanukkah, that you do, and you keep them as an internal family tradition, way of receiving that energy sort of in the family from your ancestors and from your traditions. So I think that's a good thing to always keep it secret. So Jason Kappa, our wonderful Lama teacher, always quote this in terms of the 3 levels of practice: your Hinayana, Mahayana, and Vajrayana practice. So Hinayana, your personal liberation; Mahayana, practicing enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, that all sentient beings reach full awakening; and then your Tantric practice of Vajrayana. J. Tsongkhapa says, publicly, when people meet you, they meet a Hinayana person, a person who makes the 3 principal paths of ethics, concentration, wisdom, realizing emptiness, great humility, humbleness, propriety, integrity, good ethics, these kinds of things, good morality. This is, the sort of general almost stereotype of Buddhists in some ways. This is how you are in public to people, right? And when people meet you, that's kind of the vibe that they get off you. Internally, in terms of your intentions, are Mahayana. Everything you do is based on love and great compassion for the welfare and ultimately for the liberation of all sentient beings. So you never, like I say, tell people this because it comes off as being like you think you're some kind of superhero or martyr. Like, everything I do is, I'm such a beautiful, pure person. Everything I do is for the welfare of all sentient beings. You keep this as a personal ethic that motivates all of your behavior. And then secretly, he says, by yourself, at home at night, your own place, you got time off for a vacation, you do it by yourself. That's when you do your tantric practice, or you do it with a few close friends. You don't make that the first thing people say. So, not to criticize that people want to do this, but like in the Gelugpa tradition, you don't dress up in public as some kind of tantric wizard or whatever running around. And, and I show up to work as a flight with a big purba in my belt or whatever, my chidram, like walking around. And I'm shopping in Walmart, but, I'm saying mantras and stuff like that. You're not making the big display. You keep it very discreet and private. So you just sort of see yourself as kind of like a regular person. Then it just makes the path very, very easy to do. There's no obstacles. And just sort of smooth. And the people that have the karma to connect to you in the path are able to. And otherwise, you're just a kind, peaceful person with a good heart. And then Tisha always said, his famous, Tisha Deepakarvajana, famous Buddhist teacher, second wave of Buddhism into Tibet, his question was always, do you have a good heart? When you met people, do you have a good heart? And that's the question. So if you live that way, sort of outwardly Hinayana, inwardly Mahayana, secretly Vajrayana, you have a good heart. And people can say that, oh, I like that guy, I like that person, I like that woman. She has a good heart. They don't know all the magical side to you until they get close to you and maybe ask questions. But on the whole, you're just seen as a really, really good, decent person. Okay, so that's that. Let's just take a moment to dedicate. Blessings of all holy beings, the truth of karma, perfect pure intention, all Dharma wishes be fulfilled. Okay, we'll see you next time.